Okay, so this is our lecture 9 of solid state physics. And these are the topics we are going to cover today. And we will discuss about the intrinsic semiconductors. And basically, we will discuss about the carrier concentrations and Fermi levels in intrinsic semiconductors, and also in N-type and P-type semiconductors. Okay. And then we will discuss about the very important topic, that is Hall effect and related previous year's problems. Okay, so intrinsic semiconductor, if you you all know, I hope you all know about the intrinsic semiconductors. These semiconductors are basically the semiconductors which are in its purest form. Means we are not adding, we are not mixing any impurity in the semiconductor. Then these types of semiconductor are known as intrinsic semiconductor, right? So the famous and the main category of these semiconductors are basically silicon, germanium, because they are mostly preferable in all the electronic devices. Okay, diodes and so many things, transistors, etc. So these are the most common semiconductors. Okay, silicon, germanium, and gallium arsenide also. Okay, and these semiconductors are basically there in their crystalline form. Okay, and these are the covalent materials. Okay, you all know about the covalent bond, so they all are basically covalent material. Okay, so if this type of semiconductor, this type of intrinsic semiconductor is placed in an electric field E, okay, so you all know then that in these intrinsic semiconductors we will have free electrons. And okay, so these free electrons, due to the effect of this electric field, okay, it affect the free electrons, and due to the effect they will move by a drift velocity. Okay, the electron will move by a drift velocity. And for electrons, suppose your drift velocity is VE, and we have in last lectures, I guess, we talked about the drift velocity and the mobility. Okay, so the relation between the drift velocity and mobility is this: VE equals to minus mu E E. Okay, and mu E is the electron mobility. So and this relation on the basis of this relation, we can also write the same kind of relation for holes, because the holes are also affected by this electric field which is applied on the intrinsic semiconductor. So the drift velocity of holes will be this: VH will be minus mu H E. Okay, and here mu H is your hole mobility. Okay, guys. So we are going to calculate the current density, the conduction current density in this intrinsic semiconductor. And in this semiconductor, we have two types of charge carriers. Okay, the electron is flowing due to the electron and due to the holes. So okay, so two types of currents are there. So conductivity, the current density will be due to the two types of charge carriers. Okay, so you know the formula of your current density, and it's basically N mu QE. You know this formula, right? We have derived these formulas in some lecture. So this J will be your N mu QE, but here we have two types of carriers, as we have said. So for electron, the mobility is different. For hole, the mobility is different, and mu H. So the total current density will be the sum of the current density by these two types of charge carriers. Okay, and Ni, what is this? Ni is this term. Ni is the carrier concentration inside the intrinsic semiconductor, and this is nothing, this is equal to N, this is equal to P. So we are saying basically that in intrinsic semiconductors, the concentration of electrons is equal to the concentration of holes, and it is represented by Ni. Okay, so total density will be Ni mu E plus mu H Q vector E. Okay, and this term you all know that Neq and mu Q is basically sigma. Okay, sigma is the conductivity of your semiconductor. So we can also write Z equals to sigma E. So this relation is quite important, and all the relations we will discuss today are very, very important. Okay, so sigma will be Ni mu E plus mu H Q. Okay. So for your, our intrinsic semiconductor, we can also calculate experimentally the carrier concentration. Okay. And as we are saying that in your intrinsic semiconductors, the concentration of your electron is N. Okay. And we have performed so many experiments, and this expression is experimentally calculated. So concentration of your electron will be Nc exponential minus EC minus EF upon kBt. So this term, the first term NC, is nothing but this term. It's basically 2 pi m E star kT upon h square to the power 3 by 2. Okay. So for neutron, for electron, this me star here. So this is the effective mass of your electron. Okay. T is temperature, and you know all the constant kb, h, and E. Okay. So, and this EC, what is this EC? Is the energy corresponds to conduction band. And this EF is the energy of your Fermi level. Okay, and in similar way, the concentration of holes in your intrinsic semiconductor will be this NV e to the power minus EF minus EV upon kVt, where NV is this term. So what is the difference of between NC and NV? It's basically the effective mass. Here we have MH star, means the effective mass of your hole. Okay, so it will be EF minus EV. EF is same Fermi level energy, and EV is the valence band energy. Okay, so these terms you see that NC and NV only depends on the effective masses and the temperature. Okay, so they are independent of we can say the density. Okay, and they depend. You can remember this thing. It's not very difficult, but in GATE examination you can have questions, 1 mark questions, and they can ask they will give you some options that NC depends on what. So NC depends on effective mass and the temperature. Okay, so you know, as you know that in intrinsic semiconductor, your carrier concentration of both the charged particles are same, and it is represented by Ni. Okay, and this relation will be very familiar to you. Okay, because this is a we can say law of mass action. So Np equals to Ni square. Okay, so from here we can calculate the value of this Ni. So Np, you can multiply these two terms. Okay, so this Np will be Ni square, and take the under root of this term. So it will be under root Nc Nv, and the terms will be combined, and EF terms will be cancelled out, and it will be EC minus EV, and that is Eg. Okay, and when you will take the under root of this term, the half power will be here. Okay, so Ni will be under root Nc Nv e to the power minus Eg upon 2 kVt. Eg is a forbidden energy gap. Okay, and once you put the values of Nc and V, you can write this expression in this way also. Okay, okay, so this is the important thing. You can say that the carrier concentration Ni depends on the masses, effective masses of both the charge carriers, and also on temperature and forbidden energy gap. Okay, so as we have discussed in last slide, that your conductivity in intrinsic semiconductor is this. Okay, so you can put the value of Ni we just calculated. Okay, so this value you can put here, and you can find that your conductivity will be this. So if you know the values of these constant and the value of forbidden gap and the values of these constants, you can easily find out the value of your conductivity. Okay, and one more important thing is that it's I'm including this because the problem based on this thing was in GATE examination. Okay, so once you take the log of this expression, log sigma, okay, all these terms are constant. Okay, only your T and we can say Eg are important. Okay, Eg and T are important. So the once you take the log of this expression, it will be minus Eg upon 2k, because log of e to the power something will be like your power will be comes out. Okay, so it will be minus Eg upon 2k T. 2 kVt. This is or your this term, okay, and plus 3 by 2 your log T, because in the expression of NC and V you have T to the power 3 by 2, okay. So once you will take the log of this term, it will be like 3 by 2 log T and plus constant. This constant for all. Yes, any doubt?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So this constant is for all the constant and useless terms. Okay. So this is the relation between the log sigma and these terms. So you can represent this equation by y equals to mx plus c. Okay. So you can plot a graph between log sigma, okay, and 1 upon t. Okay. So on x-axis, you can take your 1 upon t, and on y-axis, you have log sigma. So this is very famous relation that your graph is a straight line, okay, and this slope is nothing but minus eg upon 2k, because this is m, okay. So this is the important graph. Now we will see about the Fermi level in your intrinsic semiconductor, okay. So we have this thing that your carrier concentration are equal, n equals to p equals to ni. Okay, so we can calculate your Fermi level. Okay, so this is also experimentally calculated thing. I'm not giving you the derivation, okay, but this relation is important. So this EF at some temperature T, at some specific temperature T, is 1 upon 2 EC plus EV plus half KT log NV over NC. And what are these NV and NC? These are the number of concentration in your valence band and number of concentration in your conduction band, okay. So this is your band diagram of your intrinsic semiconductor, okay. So this is your valence band, okay. This is your valence band, and okay, these are little shifted, I will correct, okay. So you know the energy levels, okay. So what is this? This is EC, energy level, okay. This is the energy for your conduction band, okay. And here we will have the EV. Ignore these terms, okay. For now I will rearrange these terms, okay. So here you will have EV, because it's the energy for your valence band, okay. And this is EF. This is EF, means energy level, your energy for your Fermi level. So see guys, in your intrinsic semiconductor, the Fermi level lies just between these two bands, conduction and your valence band. And for intrinsic semiconductor, this EF can also be represented by EI, okay. Means your intrinsic level is equal to Fermi level, okay. So here, from here, you can also relate this EF with MH star and ME star, okay. These are basically MH star and ME star. So you know the formula of concentration, okay. You know the formula of concentration for intrinsic semiconductor. So you put the values of these terms here, and you can find out your Fermi level in terms of these effective masses of your charged particles, okay. So this is important relation. So see guys, in here, if you take that our temperature is 0 Kelvin, okay. So put T equals to 0 Kelvin. So simply at this point, your formula will be only this, okay. Your EF will be this, okay. It is just equal to half EC plus EV, okay. So what we are finding from this assumption, that at absolute 0 temperature, your Fermi level is basically lying in the middle of your two bands, conduction band and the valence band, okay. But normally you know that the mass of the effective mass of your hole is greater than the effective mass of your electron, okay. So if your temperature is increasing, if your temperature is increasing, what will be the case? What will be the case, guys? This term will have a positive value, okay, significant value. So it will be, EF will be greater than this term. Okay, so at temperature greater than 0 Kelvin, your Fermi level will shift upwards a little. Okay, and like we discussed about the silicon. Okay, at normal temperature, at room temperature, we can say 300 Kelvin. So the increase in Fermi energy will be about this 0.01 electron volt, and this is very, very small. That's why we generally don't talk about this thing. Okay, but you can find questions based on this thing, that only at T equals to 0, your Fermi level is just between these two bands. And once you will increase the temperature, this Fermi level will move upward. Okay, guys, got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. Now we will discuss the same things about your extrinsic semiconductors. Okay. So what are the extrinsic semiconductors? Okay, you all must know this thing, that if we add some impurity, okay, some specific amount of impurity, pentavalent and trivalent impurity in your pure semiconductor, okay, so that will be extrinsic semiconductor. And based on the type of your we can say impurity, we will get N or P type semiconductor. So basically your intrinsic semiconductors are tetravalent, okay, means like silicon and germanium. Okay, so for these we are taking two types of impurity. Okay, pentavalent, okay, means the atoms having valency 5, like we can say phosphorus, arsenic, okay, antimony. These are the examples. So if we use pentavalent impurity, okay, we will get N type semiconductors, okay, because we are adding one more extra electron. But in the case of trivalent atoms, trivalent impurity, you are only adding 3 extra electrons, and so there will be a deficiency, so it will generate a P type semiconductors, and examples are indium, aluminum, boron, etc. Okay, so why we are discussing the extrinsic semiconductor here? See guys, in last intrinsic semiconductors, what we have calculated N, P means concentration of your electron in conduction band, concentration of your hole in valence band, and also about the Fermi level. So once you use some doping material in your semiconductors, okay, so this concentration of the donors actually affect the Fermi energy level, carrier concentration, and if it is affecting on carrier concentration, so obviously on conductivity of your semiconductors. So that's why we are discussing and we are finding all these parameters for your extrinsic semiconductors. Okay, so first, we will discuss about your N-type semiconductor, guys. Okay, so see, this is your band diagram. Okay, so this is your valence band and this is your conduction band. So these blue ones are your electron. Okay, and this white one are your holes. Okay, so we are taking some we can say donors here. And at T equals to 0 Kelvin, when your temperature is 0 Kelvin, all the donors levels are occupied with electrons. Means you can say here you will have electrons. But once you increase your temperature, okay, what happens? Few of donors get ionized and contribute electrons to the conduction band. Okay, because you are giving energy. So the donor atoms will be ionized, and once they will ionize, the electrons emitted will jump to we can say they will go to the valence band. Okay, and in this case, due to some energy, what will happen? Some extra we can say electrons from the valence band will also jump to the conduction band, and once the electron is going from your band, so what it will leave behind, there will be the deficiency, and this deficiency of electron is nothing but hole. So we are creating holes in the valence band. So in this way, we can say your Fermi energy level, okay, your Fermi energy level lies here, just we can say between your donor levels, okay, and your conduction levels, okay, somewhere here. Okay, so this is your EF. Okay, And we can calculate the concentration of electrons here in conduction band, and this will relate with these terms. Your N will be Nc e to the power minus Ec minus Ef over kT. Okay, so this is the scenario about the N-type semiconductors. So guys, we can calculate the actual number of electrons. Okay, so what would be this N? Okay, normally when your semiconductor was intrinsic, your N equals to P, right? And if you are using extra donors here, so you are producing extra electrons, so that will be equal to Nd plus. So now total, we can say total electrons will be the sum of these two terms. Okay, P means thermally generated whole, and thermally generated whole will also equal to the thermally generated electrons. Okay, and Nd plus. So this will be Nd plus plus P. Okay, and if this term, because it's due to the thermal energy and it is very small normally, so if P suppose is very small as compared to this term, so we can write your N will be nearly equals to Nd plus only. Okay, and since you know that Np equals to Ni square, so your P will be Ni square over Nd plus. So you can calculate the number of electrons and also the number of your holes. Okay, so we can also calculate in the same way as we did in the intrinsic semiconductor the Fermi energy level. The expression for Fermi energy level will be this: Ed plus Ec by 2 plus kT upon 2 log Nd over Nc. Means we are talking about this energy level. Okay, so at t equals to 0 level, this energy level, Fermi energy level, is basically lying just in between these two levels, Ec and Ed. Okay, but if you are increasing temperature, the scenario will be different. Okay, so as we have also written here, and this relation is basically valid for moderate temperature, means normal temperature, not a very high temperature. Because if you will increase your T, what will happen, your Fermi level will cross the donor level, and at sufficiently high temperature it drops to Eg by 2, that is it will coincide to the intrinsic levels. Okay, so if you are increasing temperature, so this level will cross this Ed level and will coincide the Fermi energy level of your intrinsic semiconductor, means somewhere here. Okay, so that will be the opposite case. So that's why we are saying that this relation is only valid for moderate temperature, not very high temperature. So in the same way, you can calculate the electrical conductivity of your N-type semiconductor, and sigma is Ne mu, and it will be Ne mu N. Okay, and here we have N equals to Nd plus. So we can calculate the conductivity by using this formula. Okay, and this is also very important. Okay, this is also the concentration of electrons. Okay, but it is in terms of these things, Ec and Ef. We can also relate this N with Ni. If your intrinsic carrier concentration Ni is given to you, so from this also you can calculate an N. And how you will calculate your N here? Your N will be Ni e to the power Ef minus Ei over kT. If you only know the Fermi energy level of your N-type semiconductor, temperature, and these terms, Ei and Ni, about intrinsic semiconductors. So from this relation also you can calculate the carrier concentration of your electrons. Okay, so this is now your P-type semiconductor. So see guys, in P-type semiconductors, your acceptor energy levels is here, somewhere near the valence band. Okay, because here we are using the trivalent impurity. Okay, so these are the okay, no issue. So your P, in the same way when we write your N equals to P plus Nd plus, so your number of holes will be the sum of thermally generated neutrons plus your acceptor ions. Okay, means your Na minus. So if this N is very, very small, so similarly your P will be Na minus. Okay. So we can calculate the concentration of holes by using this formula as we did in the last N-type semiconductors. And also we can calculate the position of Fermi level, and it will depend on these energy levels, acceptor energy levels, and the energy of your valence band, and also on the concentration of acceptor impurities and the carrier concentration inside your valence band. Okay. So in the same way, this relation is also valid for moderate temperature. And if you are increasing your temperature T, if you are increasing this temperature T, so that means your Fermi level, what will happen to the Fermi level? If you are increasing temperature, your Fermi level will move upwards, okay, and it will coincide with the initial intrinsic Fermi level of the intrinsic semiconductor. Okay, so also this is the relation between the equilibrium carrier concentration and the position of the Fermi level. Means you can find out the P for P-type semiconductor with by using these constants Ni, Ei, Ef, and T. Okay, so this is important thing. And also for P-type semiconductor, you can calculate the conductivity. Sigma P will be P E mu P, and P is Na minus. Okay. So let's see the problem. Okay. So here the electron and holes mobilities in a silicon samples are 0.135 and 0.048, okay, respectively. These are basically mu E and mu H. Determine the conductivity of intrinsic silicon at 300 Kelvin, means at room temperature, if the intrinsic carrier concentration is this. Okay. So the sample is then doped with 10 to the power 23 phosphorus atoms per meter cube. So see guys, this is the intrinsic carrier concentration. So what is this? This is your Ni. Yes.
N. Intrinsic carrier concentration N.
N. Or more precisely, it's basically Ni. Okay.
Yes.
The sample is then doped with 10 to the power 23 phosphorus atoms per meter cube. So it is it will be Nd. Determine the equilibrium, hole concentration, conductivity, and position of the Fermi level relative to intrinsic level. Okay, so you have find two terms. First is equilibrium, hole concentration. Okay, means you are going to calculate the value of P, okay, and the position of Fermi level, means your EF. So we have formulas. So now we will see how we can calculate. So these are the things which are given to you. Okay, the mobility of both electron and your hole, and Ni, it's basically 1.5 into 10 to the power 16 per meter cube. Okay, and for intrinsic semiconductor, this is the okay. So this is N equals to P equals to Ni. You know this thing. So you can calculate the conductivity. Okay, what will be the conductivity? It's basically this. So this is a simple formula you can calculate. But here, see one thing. You have to see. This is your Ni now. This is your Ni and this is your Nd. So here, this is P-type semiconductor, and this P-type semiconductor, your P will be and this term and this term. So as you are seeing that the concentration of dopants is very, very high. This is 23 power and this is 16. Okay, so difference is much, okay, because it's basically power of 10. So here your Nd is very, very greater than the intrinsic carrier concentration. So we can nearly take this. Okay, so this will be like this. Okay, so for P-type semiconductor, you can calculate the whole concentration. They are asking. So Np equals to Ni square. So P will be Ni square over N. Okay, and your Ni is this term and your N is this term. So you can use, okay, so you can find out the answer means the carrier concentration of hole in your p-type semiconductor. Okay, and okay, and you can also calculate the conductivity, but I think they are not talking about the okay, they are talking about the conductivity now. So for your final p-type semiconductor, you can calculate the conductivity, and it will be sigma E and mu n. Okay, and you can calculate this. You have all the terms, all the values, and you can calculate conductivity. But okay, they are also talking about the Fermi energy level. Okay, Fermi energy level relative to intrinsic semiconductor. Okay, so I think I didn't mention, but we can. Okay, for p-type semiconductor, guys, you know this formula, and also this formula. One second. You know this formula, right? P equals to P equals to Ni e to the power. Yes, Hasmukh?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
We know this formula.
Your voice was breaking. Okay. So you know the value of P now. You have Ni now. And you have to find the value of this Ei minus Ef. So we will use this formula. And we have T also. And we will just find out the value of Ei minus Ef. And more precisely, Ef minus Ei. Because they are asking Fermi level relative to intrinsic level. So basically they are talking about EF minus EI or EI minus EF. So you can calculate. This is your homework. Okay. You are going to calculate this term. Okay. This is your homework, and tomorrow you will tell me your answer. Okay, guys?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. So do this. And one more thing, guys, tomorrow morning, I will not take class. Either I will shift it maybe on evening. I will inform you the exact time, okay? And tomorrow we have actually free class, I think 10 to 11 on classical mechanics. So after, I think we have only 2 lectures remaining for this solid now. So after that, we will start classical. Okay, I will start classical. So also you can attend tomorrow classes. It's a free class. So it's for the other students also. So you can also join at 10. Okay.
Okay.
On the same link.
Okay.
Okay. So, yeah. So the problem is a phosphorus doped silicon semiconductor doping density is 10 to the power, I guess 17 per centimeter cube is heated from 100 to 200 degrees Celsius. Which one of the following statement is correct? Okay. So, okay, I'm giving you already given you the answer. Okay, so see what they are doing. They are telling us that they are heating your doped semiconductor, means phosphorus doped silicon. So it will be N-type semiconductor, right?
Yes,
It's N-type semiconductor, and what they are doing basically, they are increasing temperature from 100 to 200 degrees Celsius. So if your temperature is increasing, so what will be the case for your, we can say, Fermi level?
Fermi level also increase because temperature is proportional to Fermi level.
Reaches Fermi level.
Yes, Justin?
Ma'am, it cross over the Fermi level.
So guys, what you can mistakenly think that in all the cases your Fermi level will rise. So see guys, once first thing is that you have to remember that the position of Fermi level in N-type semiconductor is between ED and EC. So this EF is basically above your intrinsic Fermi level. Okay, so in the case of N-type semiconductor, if you are increasing the temperature, this EF will cross this ED, and the tendency, just remember one thing, the tendency of this EF is basically to coincide with this EFI. Okay, so it will cross, so it is going downward. It is going downward. Okay, in case of your n-type semiconductor. But if we have p-type semiconductor, it's already somewhere here. Okay, so it will be like it
Upward.
will move upward if you are increasing temperature. So here what you have already your n-type semiconductor. So what will be the scenario? The scenario will be the Fermi level move towards middle of the energy gap, and they just they didn't mention here that upward or downward. What the scenario will be like? It will be move downward. Okay.
Downward. Yes.
Okay, it will be moved downward. So phosphorus doped silicon semiconductors behave as a n-type semiconductor, and in this type semiconductors, your Fermi level lies near conduction band, and it will move towards middle of the band upon heating. Okay, so this is the yes.
Ma'am, on general doubt, ma'am.
Yes, please.
Ma'am, in intrinsic semiconductor, there is no impurity, ma'am.
So,
Here in this problem, in silicon semiconductor, we are some doping phosphorus only, ma'am. So it may be like p-type semiconductor.
No, Justin, it's basic thing, na? Like you are using in your intrinsic semiconductor a phosphorus atoms, we can say. So what is the atomic number of your phosphorus? 15. And what is the order of electrons arrangement inside the atoms? This
Yes, ma'am.
means
Yes.
2, 8, 8, 18, something like this.
Yes, ma'am. Valence electron 5, ma'am.
So valency will be 5. And your silicon or your intrinsic semiconductors are covalent. Okay. So they all have
Covalent material.
covalent material. So they all have, we can say, only 4 valency, na?
Yes, ma'am.
And once you are doping your P here, so your P will be
Pentavalent.
pentavalent. Okay, so it means in its outer orbit you will have 5 electrons now. So these electrons, this like this, you will have silicon somewhere here also. So the 4 electrons will make covalent bond, but only your extra 5 it will remain.
Yes, ma'am.
So this is your extra electron, na? So this is your extra electron, and that's why it's basically n-type semiconductor, because this doping material is adding extra neutron, extra electron. Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
So don't confuse with this. It's a basic thing, and okay, if you forget these things, no, not a problem. You guys have Puri and Babar and Kittle.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you check both the books, and Puri and Babar you can check all the basic information you can find there. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So next problem is for an intrinsic semiconductor Me star and MH star. They are respectively the effective masses of electrons and holes near the corresponding band edges. At a finite temperature, the position of the Fermi level. Okay. So tell me your answer. It's already written, but tell me why. Which formula, why we are.
Ma'am, there is a formula about carrier concentration. Which defined Me and Me star and MH star. And if the temperature is finite, then we conclude this term.
Yeah. So it's basically depends both on the, we can say these terms. Okay, so see guys, you think, I think आपको लग रहा होगा कि the formulas ना are very lengthy. But try to write 2-3 times these formula and try to solve problems. So you will easily remember these formulas. Okay. So you will, okay. So your level, the energy will depends on both the effective masses of electron and hole. So this is your correct one. Okay, so next topic, interesting topic and important topic as well, and common topic as well. I think you already know this thing as well, Hall effect. So what is the Hall effect, guys? It's basically when suppose you have a, we can say, conductor, your electric conductor, and if in your conductor some current is flowing. So let's say that our current is flowing on this direction, okay, on X direction your current is flowing, and you, if you are putting this conductor, this electrical conductor in magnetic field, okay, and the direction of magnetic field is this direction, okay, so due to the effect of magnetic force, because you are putting this conductor in your magnetic field, so what will happen, some voltage will be developed across your conductor, okay, some voltage will be developed across your conductor. So this is basically the Hall effect, okay, so the Hall effect. So the I will tell you what is why this is this VH, the voltage is basically producing. So this voltage, or this voltage is known as VH. It's also written here VH, and this VH is known as Hall voltage. So guys, what is the I will tell you the mechanism. Okay, so this is your semiconductor. Sorry, this is your some conductor, okay, and you see the dimensions of this conductor. Suppose this is the thickness of this conductor is D, and this is, we can say, this is the width, okay, this is W, okay, and the current, we have applied some external battery, and due to this some current I is flowing, okay, so maybe this is your IX, okay, because it's flowing in X direction, so we can say it's basically IX, current is flowing. So you put your conductor in magnetic field, and magnetic field is in Z direction, so we can write this B is basically VZ. So what will happen, you know the formula of left hand rule, Fleming's left hand rule. What is the rule? Tell me guys, what is the rule? No one knows the formula?
And we
In
know the
nine?
rule, but I
You
know
forgot.
the rule, but I cannot don't know about
Okay,
formula.
just take perpendicular or your
Current,
yeah. Yes.
electric field is perpendicular to magnetic field, and direction also perpendicular to that moment.
You can say like you are using your it's difficult for me to elaborate here, but suppose this is your thumb, okay, this is your thumb, and this is suppose your forefinger, first one finger, okay, and suppose this is your we can say magnetic field, okay, this is your magnetic field in this direction, and this is your middle finger, okay, and these three fingers are mutually perpendicular to each other. So if this finger represent current I, okay, middle finger, and this represent basically your magnetic field, so on the conductor, on the device, the magnetic fields will be in the direction of your thumb, so it will be magnetic force, okay. So if you have these two things already, Ix and B are perpendicular because these are in X direction and Z direction. So on this conductor, some magnetic field will be there. And in what direction? In Y direction. So in Y direction, in this direction, guys, in this direction, some force will be there. So what will be the direction of force? This is basically electric force. So what will be the direction of force? So in this scenario, what will happen? All the electrons will go in that direction, and once the electron from here to here are going, so on this side we will have positive charge, okay, because electrons are moving from here, and on this side we will have negative charge. So due to this this negative charge on this slide on this side of your conductor, due to positive charges on this side of your conductor, an external voltage will be there, okay, and this voltage this we can say this is known as Hall voltage, BH. Okay, so this is the scenario, this is the case. So you can write here mathematically. Okay, okay, so this will be your force F equals to Q V cross V. Okay, because we will have two types of force, magnetic force also, and due to this thing electric force also. So this is magnetic force, V equals to Q V cross V. And there will also be an electric force, because on the sides of these conductor we have two charges, different charges. So electric force will be F equals to QE, but the whole thing will be in equilibrium, so that sum of these forces will be zero. So from here you can find out this thing, because this E is basically EY, this V is VX, and this B is VZ. So from here you can calculate EY, or you can say EH, because this will be Hall field. This will be Hall field. Okay. So taking into account the dimension of the sample, the total current will be this. You know the formula of current. Okay. J equals to sigma EV. Okay. So from here I will be J into area. So it will be NE Vx into WT, and we are taking minus sign because this is due to the current will be negative here, because it's due to electron. So we will use both the relation, means we will eliminate this term Vx from here. Okay, we can put the value of Vx. Okay, from here, from in this term you can put the value of Vx here. Okay, and you can find out your relation. Okay, so your Hall voltage will be this. Okay, your Hall voltage will be this. Okay, so VH is basically Ix Vz upon ND, NED or T. Okay, somewhere we can write this. So it's matter. You have thickness D here, na? So this will be D, not T, and this is right. Okay, so it's basically Ix Vz upon NED. Okay, this is your Hall voltage, and Hall field will be, you know the formula relation between E and V. Okay, it's very common thing. So E equals to basically V upon D, na? And D here is W. So you can relate this Hall field and Hall voltage by this relation. And also you can calculate the very interesting thing, that is Hall coefficient, and this is basically 1 upon NE. The magnitude of this term is 1 upon NE, and also you can replace this term 1 upon NE by RH. Okay, so your formula Hall voltage, you can also calculate this formula in terms of this Hall coefficient RH. Okay, and from this relation you can also tell that your RH will be EY upon Jx Vz. And what is this Jx? Is its density. So Jx is nothing but it's basically your Ix upon D. Okay, so if you have in your conductor electrons, charge carriers are electron, as we can say we are talking about semiconductors, n-type semiconductors. So majority of carriers are electrons. So in this way your RH will be minus 1 upon Ne, and if we are talking about holes, so RH will be 1 upon Ne, means positive. Okay, so this is nothing, this is Ni actually. So intrinsic semiconductor के लिए आपका क्या होता है? N equals to Pi equals to Ni होते हैं, right? And Hall coefficient, you can also calculate the Hall coefficient for intrinsic semiconductor. So this is the modified. We can say this is the basic formulas for your Hall coefficient, and more precisely we can say this is for metal. Okay, metal and other solids. Okay, but if you are talking about in semiconductors, Hall effect in semiconductor, the more precise formula for Hall coefficient is this, means it's basically 1 upon Nie mu p minus mu n upon mu p plus mu n. So mu p and mu n are mobility of your hole and mobility of your electron. Okay, so any confusion guys in this Hall effect?
No, ma'am.
No.
Okay. Okay, so one more important thing, it's simple formula, but it's you can in net and gate na, you have to use somewhere in some questions this formula. So this is basically the electrical resistivity. Means if you have a conductor, okay, if you have a conductor and you can say some current is passing through your conductor, so you can also calculate the resistivity, okay, resistivity of your conducting material. So resistivity, the formula of resistivity will be rho equals to Ra upon L. So R is the electrical resistance of your we can say electrical resistance of your conductor. A is the area, okay, this cross-sectional area, this cross-sectional area, okay, and L is the length of your conductor. So this is very
Ma'am,
simple formula. Yes.
what is difference between resistivity and resistance?
Resistance, the resistance is basically you know from Ohm form relation, okay. Let me, okay, what is the Ohm relation? V is proportional to R, okay. Resistance is the intrinsic property of your material, okay, it's depend on material, right? But if you are talking about resistivity, if you are talking about resistivity for we can say per unit length, if you have this conductor, so for this conductor, for per unit area and per unit length, okay, the amount of resistance offering by your conducting material in the path of the current, in the path of current is known as this rho. Means this rho is nothing but R, but when it's equal to R, when your A is equals to 1 unit, your L is also equal to 1 unit, okay. So if this term will be 1, your rho equals to R now. So for per unit length and per unit area, the resistance offered by the material, conducting material in the path of current is basically the electrical resistivity of the material. Okay, got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so this is the formula of electrical resistivity. So now we will see the problem. Okay. Consider a two-dimensional material of length L, width W, subjected to a constant magnetic field B applied perpendicular to it. The number of charge carriers per unit area may be expressed as N. So the formula of charge carriers, okay. Formula of charge carriers means N is given to you. And this is this N, where K is positive real number and Q is the carrier charges. Then the Hall resistivity rho xy. Rho xy. So can you guys tell me, just try how you can solve it or not?
Okay, we will try.
Or you can tell me how to approach. Any leads or confused?
No, ma'am.
Acha, okay. Okay, so one thing, what do you have first of all? You have the number of charge carriers, okay, and they are talking about the Hall resistivity, means they are talking about basically the Hall effect, right now. So
Yes.
they are talking about resistivity. So guys, and N, also about N. So you can relate what relation you are going to.
Rho is equal to R into A by L.
You can also calculate, but okay, yeah. So this is your formula, okay, Hasmukh?
Yes,
And
ma'am.
how now you have to see how you can relate this formula. So this is basically normal formula, and in Hall effect, you means R, A, and L, they are not included in any formula in the Hall effect. So just think wisely. This R is what? This is R. This R is a resistance, electrical resistance. Yeah, and you can relate this R with V and I, and R equals to V upon I. So this VH will be the Hall voltage, right? This is Hall voltage. And the A, the area, because the length and width are given to you. So this A is the area, and this area will be L into W. So put the value of this.
Yes.
Yeah. And you, okay, so final formula of rho will be VHW upon IX. And you know this formula. This is very, very basic formula and the important formula in Hall effect. Hall voltage will be IX VZ upon NEW. So put the value of VH here. Okay. Here you can put the value. So your formula will be this. Okay. And in question, you have the value of N, the expression of N. N equals to KQ. So this is a mod value, means if you have this Q is positive, so your N will be this term. Just put the value of N here and you can find out the value of your rho. So see, this question is tough or easy?
Easy, no problem.
Yeah, but you when you reading the question, you think that this is not you can solve. This is very, very different, very, very tough question. Okay, so I want to tell you, in the examination, these kinds of examinations now, rarely problems are very, very tough. Okay, so if you know the Hall effect now and you know the basic definition of resistivity, so I will assure you that 95% you can solve the problem. You can solve the problems if you know that effect and all the basic terms. And sometimes now what will be the case? Let me tell you one more thing. If sometimes you stuck in the problems, means you are not you cannot solve the problem, and if you have time, so you can also approach like this. You know the resistivity, okay, the normal formula of resistivity, you know, so you can also remember the dimension, the unit of this rho. So you can check quickly the dimensions of all the options. Okay, so sometimes it may be possible that dimensions of all the options will be same, but mostly what happened, they will be different. So the option which will give you the exact dimension, exact unit of your resistivity, that will also be the right answer in that way. Okay, so sometimes you can approach this. So ये सब practice से आएगा, do practice.
Okay.
A magnetic field sensor based on the Hall effect is to be fabricated by implanting arsenic into a silicon film of thickness 1 μm. Okay, the specifications require a magnetic field sensitivity of 500 MV per Tesla at an excitation current of 1 milliampere. The implantation dose is to be adjusted such that the average carrier density after activation is. Okay, so what you have guys here, you have thickness. Okay,
Blue.
you have thickness, and you have magnetic field, you have B here, you have also current here, and you have to find out the carrier density, means the value of your M. Okay, so we will use your formula, this formula. Okay, and you have all these things. Okay, you have the value of this I, you have the value of this B, you have the value of this thickness. You can whatever you want to take, T or D thickness, and you want to calculate the value of N here. Okay, and VH, we have okay, this is na, okay, MEV upon Tesla. So this is see the unit guys, this is MEV upon Tesla. So this is V upon, sorry, opposite. This is kept voltage upon B. Okay. So
Yes,
V
ma'am.
upon B. So you can put and find your answer. Okay, guys. So this is your option number B.
B.
B. In a Hall effect experiment, the Hall voltage for an intrinsic semiconductor is negative. This is because they are talking about the Hall voltage for an intrinsic semiconductor. Okay. So you remember the formula, I think. Where I written this formula. Okay. This formula now, here. This is the formula of Hall coefficient for your intrinsic semiconductor. Means this RH for intrinsic semiconductor depends on the mobility of this hole and neutron, hole and electron. And this R is related to Hall voltage. So in what case this RH will be negative? If this term mu n is greater than mu p, it will be negative, right? And if this RH is this RH is negative, your pH will be negative, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. So I need not to go back. So this is your formula. Okay. So VH will be negative if RH is negative, and this will be the case. This will be the correct option. Okay. If mu n is greater than mu p, or you can say mu e is greater than mu h, your Hall voltage will be negative. So this is your correct one. And this question, you are going to tell me the correct answer. Consider a metal which obeys the Sommerfeld model exactly. If EF is the Fermi energy of the matter at T equals to 0 Kelvin and RH is its Hall coefficient, which of the following statement is correct? So you have to remember two formula. One of Fermi energy from Sommerfeld model and the Hall coefficient. Just give me the correct answer. Guys, just solve and give me just 2 minutes. I am just coming. So समझ में आया how to approach, guys, this question?
मैम ये समरफील्ड मॉडल वाला समझ में नहीं आया।
अच्छा, okay. और बाकी?
मैम I think option D because there is in RH Hall coefficient equation there is no EF, so I think option D.
But they are asking to relate now. After that only we can say.
Okay.
So who is Justin, Arya, Pearl, Shravya? Dekho, this is very simple. If you you know the formula of Fermi energy level in Sommerfeld model.
No.
No, you know the formula, guys. It's very simple formula, and it's not about in this class. You know the formula from your MSc also. Acha, tell me one thing. Dekho, look guys, if you want to solve a problem, you have to, what should I say? You know, or your six senses, you have to use all your senses, okay? And it's somewhere in your mind, and it's very, very easy. Acha, kisi ko nahi pata, no one knows the formula of EF, Fermi energy level.
Ma'am, EF equal to KTF.
Yeah, it's also a formula, but
Ma'am,
you
E is equal
guys,
to E is equal to N pi H cross square. Sorry, N pi H cut square by M. Pardon, yeah.
do you know this formula?
Whole power 2 by 3.
हाँ, तो आपको पता है ये फॉर्मूला, तो आप लोगों को what is the problem guys? It's simple formula.
The relation between Fermi
And
energy
just unmute yourself everyone, and from tomorrow I will ask you to on your video as well, because you are not answering. Okay, unmute yourself and yeah, Shravya, Sarika, okay, just let me switch on my video as well. Okay, who left? ठीक है, तो no issue. So you know this formula, right? And if you know this formula, you can your EF depends on it's proportional to n to the power 2 by 3. So your n, you can say your n is proportional to EF to the power minus 3 by 2. Now you can tell me the answer. Shravya, just tell me the answer.
Yeah. It's proportional to e power 2 by 3.
Option C, ma'am.
1 minute. So this was your formula. EF equals to this. I have also written. So your n will be this. Okay, your n will be this 3 by 2. I'm just okay. I'm okay. So I took negative sign. To n will be proportional to EF to the power 3 by 2. Okay, and what is the formula of RH? RH equals to 1 upon
NE.
NE, na, means it's inversely proportional to n. Means we can say n to the power minus 1. So the power will be opposite. Okay, so RH will be, it will be minus power. So it will be minus 3 by 2. So this will be your correct option. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so just okay. Next problem is the Hall coefficient RH of sodium depends on. ये तो आप बता ही सकते हो मुझे. It's the simplest one. RH depends on, what are the options? The effective charge carriers, masses, and charge carrier density. So what is the formula of RH, guys?
RH is equal to 1 upon NE.
Option A, ma'am.
So it depends only on N.
Yes.
So first option is the effective charge carrier, mass and carrier density. No, it depends on charge carrier. The charge carrier density and relaxation time, no. Third option is correct. The charge carrier density only, because you see in the formula we have only N here. E is a constant, na? So it depends on N. Okay. Option C. So any confusion in today's lecture?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So,
Ma'am,
yes,
ma'am,
Hasmukh.
ma'am, Justin.
Justin, yes, Justin.
Ma'am, I have a general thing and also general doubt, ma'am.
Yes,
Uh,
yes.
we have a lot of problems, ma'am. A lot
Hmm.
of formulas also,
Hmm.
and ma'am, you can give me give us a problem something. If you, now you are telling about the relation between the electron density and the formula last you taught, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
And if you give that related problem to that formula, ma'am, we can easily identify what they are trying to say. Uh, it will more helpful to solve the problem, ma'am.
Yeah, Justin, yeah. In 2 days now, we are going to give you the assignments. Okay, one assignments based on all the all the topics we have covered. Okay, and that will be very very useful for you guys. Okay.
Okay.
And after that, now we will also have quizzes. Uh, I think we had on up to a device model like na free electron theory, but on this topic semiconductor, and based on all the topics we will also have quizzes. Okay, and for now, hopefully on Monday I will give you the assignment as well. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, any other?
Ma'am, previous question, last slide doubt.
Last slide, which one? This one, tell me.
EF we know power 2 by 3.
Hmm.
After that, what no?
After that you confused.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so no issue. So you know the formula, this formula, na, you know, na, EF equals to, here, it's clear. EF equals to h cut square upon 2m, 3 pi square n to the power 2 by 3, right?
Yeah.
So from here, you can write that your EF is proportional to n to the power 2 by 3, because all these things, na, they are constant. Okay, all these things are constant. So your EF depends on n to the power 2 by 3. So in questions now, we have to answer that your RH depends on EF in what manner. Okay, so we should we have to figure out the formula of RH in terms of EF. Okay, and once you see here that N is here, means concentration here, so it should be hit your mind that N is related to RH, right? And RH is 1 upon NE. Okay.
Minus 1 by NE.
1 second, just. Yeah, RH equals to 1 upon NE, or you can say minus 1 upon NE, but we are in the magnitude. Okay, and okay, so RH equals to 1 upon NE means R is proportional to n to the power minus 1. Okay, we are on, if you will take minus sign here, it will also, it doesn't matter, because we just concerned about the power. Okay, so R is proportional to n to the power minus 1. And from here, if you will find out n to the power 2 by 3 is proportional to EF, so you can say n is proportional to e to the power 3 by 2. It will be opposite, right?
Okay.
So it will be n to the power minus 1. Okay, and what will be the n to the power minus 1? EF to the power minus 3 by 2. Okay? Yeah. Any other? Yes.
Ma'am, we know all formula, but when it's time to relate the two things that given and want to calculate, then we get confused, because here RH, relation between RH and Fermi energy of Sommerfeld model, we know the formula, but the relation is so confusing. How can we relate to two things that
Hasmukh, yeah, I can understand your question, and it's for everyone. Okay, everyone can be confused in such type of cases, but since you need to remember all the thing, and okay, you have to practice all the thing, and it's very simple. You are not going to use very different way to solve the question. Okay, you have to start, and you should always start from the basic things. Okay, so I'm going to tell you why. देखो, इस क्वेश्चंस में, इन दिस क्वेश्चन में उसने क्लियरली मेंशन किया, ही क्लियरली मेंशनड दैट ही इज टॉकिंग अबाउट सोमरफेल्ड मॉडल. Okay, and in Sommerfeld model वो क्या बोल रहा है? He is talking about EF, means Fermi energy. So just in question, now you have your online test, so you cannot highlight the things, but just note down that he is talking about Fermi energy in Sommerfeld model. One thing. Second thing, he is talking about RH in Hall coefficient. First of all, write two formulas. Formula of RH, formula of EF, they are the basic thing ना. Okay, तुम आपको पता भी होना चाहिए फर्मी एनर्जी का फॉर्मूला क्या होता है इन सोमरफील्ड में, और इसमें RH का फॉर्मूला क्या होता है. यू हैव टू जस्ट राइट द फॉर्मूलाज एंड डू द रेस्ट पार्ट, जैसे वो क्वेश्चन में पूछ रहा है. ओके, सो it's very simple. Whatever he is asking, you have to do the same thing. Okay, in the basic manner, need not to imply the complicated part. Okay, and these types of problems means two topics related to two topics, three topics are very common. So don't be confused, because it's NET exam, GATE exam, so it's not like that कि you will find the questions there जो हमने आपको पहले से ही करा रखे होंगे. It's not the case, but the approach should be same. It should be same, and it would be from the all the things we have covered. बस आपको different type of questions आपको करने हैं. You have to give your quizzes, assignments, and aside apart from this, if you have any books, previous years question papers, ठीक है, some other assignment, something, okay, you have, so you have to solve problems related to all the topics. And if you will do this thing, you can easily relate two topics, three topics, and solve any problem. Because I see like this was the easiest problem. Okay, ये बहुत easy था, but you missed. Okay, you were confused, you guys were confused, because yeah, it's a new topic for today. I can understand that you might you forget this Hall effect, but if you know the Hall effect, you can easily tick this answer, because it's in GATE examination in 1 mark question. I think it's very simple. Okay, so do practice. And yeah, and आपको सबसे जरूरी बात, you have to attend classes. Okay, and please tell me, I'm very I want to ask you why you guys I can understand some students tell me, they message me that they have problem. We can understand. Okay, that's it. Okay, but sometimes you didn't inform us, and if like due to some personal issues, medical issues, you can obviously you have to miss the classes. Okay, but if you are like I'm telling you that you have to be serious, very serious. Okay, and that's only you can clear this exam. Okay, and once we will complete our course, okay, so it would be difficult for you to ask each and everything. Okay, and now you have classes, all the classes are going on. You have 4 instructors right now, and in 2-3 days you will have your next your 5th instructor as well. He will take classes of electronics and maybe some other paper. Okay, so you have you need to be serious. Okay, guys.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah, so any other query?
No, ma'am. Okay.
Yes.
I complete the thermodynamic quiz. In question number 9, there is only options. There is no question. So you check.
Okay, let me check. Okay, I will tell you. Okay, no issue. I will check, and if there is an issue, we will sort out. Okay, and we can open, because it's I think 1 attempt. Okay, we will reopen and you can try once more. Okay, and for all the guys, try to complete it by tomorrow. Okay, I think you can cover, because if you are doing some classes or working na, so tomorrow is Sunday, so you can prepare, and in evening you can give your quiz. Okay, and then send us your screenshot of your marks. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. So any other confusion, Alia, Shravya, Pearl?
No, ma'am. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Okay, so yeah, so we can